Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's see where we are live. Good. I'm gonna let y'all get in here real quick. I'm gonna let the people enter. Okay, good, good. We're live. Hello, 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 Josie. Welcome to Growth 101. Hello, hello, hello. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, hello, hello to the one aunt. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys like and share it. Share the live with someone. Inbox it to them. Do some. What's up, Tipsy? I love it. What's up now? Y'all like and share. Let's get the likes. Tap the screen. Let's get them up to like 10K. We're going through Growth 101. If you don't know me, my name is Yannick Medor. And we are going to take this thing to the next level. So continue to like. Thank you so much for liking the live now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, whoever's on Instagram. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm on TikTok on my phone too because TikTok won't let me connect the studio yet. So we're just going to do it like this. All right, yes, welcome to Growth 101. So happy to have you. Today we're going to talk about the first steps it takes for someone to be successful. And this came to me, especially if I'm like, which I am new to TikTok and some of these platforms as far as teaching regularly, and gaining new clients and new people that have never heard of me, never worked with me, never anything. So just kind of starting everyone from the beginning, the same way I would with a new client. So if you're watching this, I am treating you like a new client, someone that I would bring in to the fold and just be invested in helping you get to the next level. And that's what a coach does. That's what an executive coach does, is they look at what it is you're trying to achieve and try to figure out ways to get you to the next level to where you can make your dreams and your aspirations and your vision. Thank you so much now. And your visions come true. And that's what it is. So first thing I want to talk about is what is the difference between a therapist and a coach? A therapist is someone who helps you reconcile your past. All right. So that person helps you reconcile your past so that way you can grow and, live life and continue to push forward towards the future. And most times we all have things from our past that we have to reckon with, we have to give meaning to, we have to address so that way we are 100% who we are and what we're supposed to be in the next season of life. And what I find is there's oftentimes when you work with someone who has a really, really strong set of goals, but they haven't reckoned with their past, the things that have happened to them in their past and the way that it's changed them and impacted the way that they interact with the world oftentimes gets in the way, and it has a way of rearing its ugly head when it comes to their future. And this can be difficult because often what I find is that oftentimes you'll sit there and You'll think that you've gotten over something when really you've thought about it, you've kind of addressed it, but you didn't really either tear it out, and start over, or you didn't find meaning with it to where you can get back to your authentic self. Your authentic self isn't anxious. Your authentic self isn't depressed. Your authentic self doesn't have issues with control. Your authentic self doesn't isn't demotivated. Your authentic self doesn't deal with a lot of self-doubt. Your authentic self, let's tell me to swipe right to see y'all's comments. Okay. Your authentic self just doesn't have these types of issues. And when they pop up, know that it's when they appear in your life, know that normally it's from some sort of environmental factor, something that maybe you've inherited or you've mirrored from a parent, or maybe it's you went through some sort of trauma or some sort of situation that deeply impacted the way that you interact with the world. And I have this rule, and I've seen it happen all the time, to where you find people that get done wrong and they get victimized. And instead of saying, hey, I don't want to be anything like that person, they actually become and take on the habits of the same people who victimized them in the past. Someone does you wrong, and instead of you focusing on, hey, this is what's going on with this person, this was happening in their lives, this is how, this is how they've gotten to this place to where they're dealing with their trauma and they're pushing it off on everyone else. What we end up doing is we harden ourselves and take those same traits of the other person. And it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone, where you can take on the same traits as the same people who objectified you. You can take on the same traits of the same people who did you wrong, the people that you called, the abuser, the oppressors. And this is the thing. This is so insidious, because oftentimes for someone to oppress you in some form or fashion, they kind of have to get close to you. You have to allow them into your spirit, allow them into your environment, to where it's the people that are closest to us that often oppress us the most. And then we end up mirroring their behavior subconsciously. And the next thing you know, you end up being just like your oppressor. And it's so insidious, and it's something that, you just have to be aware of. You have to be aware of not taking on the same traits of the people that get on your nerves. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult to not do, and it's easy to do. So what we're going to talk about today is just the beginning steps of growth and what someone has to do in order to start the process. Why are we going through this, right? And I asked myself this, as I was writing out my notes last night and, thinking about this topic earlier this week. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about on Wednesday? What am I going to talk about on Wednesday? And the reason that this is important is because this is normally the first stumbling block that I experience when working with someone. You can have a great entrepreneur, a great business person, a great leader, a great mother, father, husband, wife, or what have you, that has a great idea, that has a very concrete stumbling block, meaning, hey, this is a strategy and a system that can help you get around that. Because everything that we want to do in this day and age, which is something that I love, everything that we want to do in this day and age has a strategy. And typically it already has a formula in some form or fashion that works out well. Everything you want to do already has a formula. Very, very few of us are in a space where we're innovating. Very few of us are coming up with new techniques to perform, cardiac surgery. Very few of us are putting rocket ships in the sky. Very few of us are just truly trying to achieve towards things that are on the cusp of innovation. And those people are there. And if you are that person and you are an innovator, this is even more important, because what I'm talking about today, guarding your heart, this is one of the things that is a stumbling block for creativity. The mind does not do a great job of finding solutions to problems and creating under extreme amounts of stress. It does not do that very well. You have to be in a place of peace in order to do that. And this is the thing. being in a place of peace is something that you have to guard for yourself, because there's no way. And y'all, please continue to like, thank you for coming in here. Please continue to like, I'm trying to tap it myself. Y'all tap, 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 tap your screen until we get up to like 10K so we can beat this algorithm, because we're going to change lives today. And I just know that the information from today is going to help unlock some of you guys' businesses, some of your ideas. It's going to unlock your mind. It's going to unlock things to where you can just get to that next level. And that thing that seemed so unattainable up to this point, you're about to obtain it. You're going to obtain it this year and this season. And especially for 2024. I know many of you are probably like me and everyone else I'm talking to that I have been speaking with, or you've been feeling the pinch in 2023. And I just know spiritually and just in the natural, what's happening in 2023 is the setup for 2024 and what we're going to do and what we're going to achieve. But you've got to get your mind right. And so the reason I'm talking about this is there's this false belief that if you get enough support and the perfect formula, you can be successful. If you can remove so many stumbling blocks. And that's not the case. Everything that you want to do, everything that you want to achieve typically has a proven system of success. So if we know, hey, this is the system to have a successful restaurant. This is the system to have a successful practice. This is the system to, grow within corporate America. This is the system to, have a successful marriage. This is the system to do whatever. And they might be a little different per person. The goal is for you to find a system that works for you and your particular vision and your goals. But if we know that there's all these systems out here that work, and I mean, think about it. You can go online and Google for whatever it is that you want to do. You can go online and Google how to do it. And Wikipedia or something like that will give you like a 6-step formula as to how to do it. What gets in the way? Well, typically people are not in the mindset in order to tackle the stumbling blocks and the challenges. So even though you have a system that is a proven success system, what that system does not do is take away the hurdles. Every system will still have hurdles. There's going to be hurdles to growing a business. There's going to be hurdles to recruiting. There's going to be hurdles to marketing. There's going to be hurdles to dating. There's going to be hurdles to climbing the corporate ladder. There's going to be hurdles to fixing your finances. There's going to be hurdles to starting anything. There's going to be hurdles. And what a system doesn't do is it doesn't remove the hurdles. What it does is it equips you to either jump over that hurdle or to get around it, meaning it equips you to navigate it. And so what we find is that many people are not in the mental space to consistently navigate around the hurdles. Think about it just like track, right? If you are a track runner and you run the 100 hurdles, 200 hurdles, whatever, you've got to be in the mindset to consistently jump over the hurdle. You can't just jump over one. No, you've got to jump over every hurdle that's on that track. And you train yourself to where you're physically and mentally and spiritually able to jump over all of the hurdles that present itself in order for you to finish the race. Because for most of us, it's not even about winning the race. Finishing the race is a win. Because in the game of life, you're really just competing against yourself and the factors that present themselves to you. So it's like, hey, God has an assignment for you. He gives you the gifts, the skill, and the idea, but it's up to you to execute it with his support. And most of the time, people aren't able to do it because of this. They're not guarding their heart. So everything I'm teaching today is going to be based upon Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Not your money determines the course of your life. Not whether or not you were born in the projects. Not whether or not you used to have addiction issues or you're still dealing with addiction issues. Not whether or not, you've gone through stuff. No, guarding your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. So, like I said, for everything you want to do, there's already a proven formula. But if you aren't guarding your life, and guarding your heart, sorry, you won't have the stamina to navigate the challenges. And the barriers to entry end up being a barrier of the heart. Because whatever you want to do, you've got to have the heart to do it. You've got to have the stamina. You've got to have the will. You've got to have the motivation. You've got to have the discipline. And all of those things are matters of the heart. And that's where they begin. So over the Thanksgiving holiday, I was sitting with my nephew watching the Super Mario Brothers movie, right? Which I think was the cutest movie in the world. And I was thinking about this to where when, at the beginning of the movie, they show Mario and Luigi as being plumbers. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to start this business. Everything's going to be great. And then like this guy's like, no, y'all are losers. This little commercial y'all just did is dumb. You're a loser. You were born a loser. You're already going to be a loser. But luckily, Mario and Luigi's parents were like, y'all are amazing. So they start this business. They mess up everything. Next thing you know, they're in like, you know, Princess World or whatever that alternate world is. But imagine, you know, and I was sitting there thinking like, this is what real life is like. You think you're going one way, next thing you know, you're shooting out in this other place. Things are coming at you, fireballs, all this other stuff. But really what they were learning was how to navigate all of these different things that were shooting themselves at the person. And what I find, especially when I first start working with someone, that they're trying to find all the ways to remove the challenges, and they're waiting for this even playing field where just all the obstacles are just gone and you just have this straight and narrow line. Honey, if you're waiting for a straight line, and if you're waiting for everything to be perfect to engage in what you're doing, you're going to be waiting forever. I hope you have a blanket and an umbrella, and I hope you pack the snack, because you'll be waiting forever. Because the challenges are always going to be there, and it wouldn't be worthwhile if you didn't achieve it without any challenges. Or with the challenges. Anyone can do it. And something that anyone can do does not pay. There are no rewards for common things. If anybody can do it and anyone can figure it out, there are no rewards, there are no spoils. So you have to really get your mind in a place to where you're like, okay, here are the challenges. This is what's going on. This is how I'm going to make this work out for me. All right. And let me tell you, what I find, especially when I first start working with someone, they always are thinking, what I have is a lack of resources. All right. Baby, this is America. And if you're not in America, then, you know, I'm sorry. And this is, and I've seen this being presented in all places across the world, right? But one of the things that we're built on is being resourceful. Now, what you're going to have to do is make sure you use a great character, and you're being godly while you're being resourceful, and you're keeping your integrity. But we are resourceful. I mean, I've met people who have created an entire opportunity waiting outside of an executive's office with no money and just a tape with their music on it. Carrying the books and the briefcases of the executives until someone wanted to listen to them and give them a shot. I've seen other people who cold called CEOs during the day trying to gain a contract for a year while pushing brooms and, you know, fixing arcade machines at night. I've met people, and some of you guys may be people like this too, who put all they had into one property and found a way to rebuild it and flip it themselves, working at night, you know, or working during the day and at night going and sanding and putting in floors or whatever, so that they can flip that house and get the startup money for the next house. The CEO of Airbnb sold cereal. And it probably wasn't name brand cereal. Okay. You know, the cereal in the bag, the off brand stuff. But that CEO sold cereal to get the money to invest into Airbnb. So we know that success isn't about always having the resources. We know it's about being resourceful. But if you're not guarding your heart and you're guarding your mind, you'll never have the energy to be willing to stick with the process long enough to gain the resources to upgrade your life, to give yourself that promotion, and to be able to continuously pursue your dream. And and this is what I find when I first meet with the CEO or meet with someone who's a new business owner. The first thing I'm gauging is where's their mind at right now? Where is their might? Where is their might? Where is their will? Where is their heart? And when you say heart, especially we said, this entire thing is built upon Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And I connected this with what I found with real data and just being out in the field, working with people and supporting them as they grow their goals and they grow their ideas and they pursue their vision and they scale their businesses, that this is the starting point of all success. And what I found is that I need to, and I love to meet people when they're in the sweet spot. They're dealing with challenges, but their mindset and their will and their confidence isn't so low that I have to almost do like one of these heart resuscitators to try to just get them back in the game and just feeling good about themselves again, feeling like they have a chance, feeling like the odds aren't completely stacked against them, feeling like, you know what, there's something that I want to do and I am the person who can do it. And it's really, really difficult to work with someone who's already just prostrate, meaning they're already laying down. They're just waiting for the truck to roll over them. It is nearly impossible to help someone who's in that position and who's already seeing and doing things in that way. It's nearly impossible, friend. It's very, 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 very difficult. And so what you have to do is take the individual responsibility of guarding your own heart. Now, when we talk about heart, or anytime you read about heart in the Bible, what it means is your soul. And your soul is simply your mind, your will, and your emotions. All right? Your mind and your will and your emotions. And you're going to need your mind, your will, and your emotions to be in a place consistently enough to where you're in the headspace to constantly engage the process of your dream despite the challenges. Now, this is the great part, and this is also a challenge if you are a leader or an entrepreneur, or someone who leads some sort of team, or the head of a family, a mother, or whatever, is you have to do such a great job of guarding your own heart, your own mind, will, and emotions, because you also need to facilitate and support other people guarding their hearts as well. Meaning you have to curate environments to where this person is able to stay focused. They're able to have their mind in the game. They have their will and their emotions are behind it. And so we're going to break this down. So first off, have you ever been in a place where you were super motivated? You're super motivated. You're like, I can do this. Okay. Just to have someone call you and blow all your energy. Like the live, if you've ever been like that. You were super motivated to go and do that thing. I'm liking it because I've been in that place. And y'all like and share it with 5 people. You know, we stop the doom scrolling. I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm going to give you the real. And these aren't things that I just give to whomever. This is information that I share and that I use with CEOs and CEOs of major companies. We're talking people that have millions upon millions and millions of dollars liquid in the bank. All right. And these are the things that I help them with. So share it, take it. And I'm giving you free game right now. So have you ever had that happen? You're super motivated, whether it's you're motivated to grow your business, you're motivated to start your idea, you're motivated to go into work, you're motivated to just to start fresh, just to have someone come and blow all of your energy, whether it's through criticism, whether it's through sowing seeds of doubt, whether it's through telling you, oh, that sounds stupid. Let me tell you something. Until God tells you it's stupid, it's not stupid. Until God tells you it's stupid, it's not stupid. And don't expect that other people are going to get it, because everyone else doesn't have the same call on your life. God didn't plant the same seed and the same dream into that person. So you can't expect them to get it. Another thing, most people walk by sight only, to where they only get it once it's a finished work. They only get it once it has physically manifested. But you've got to have your mind in a place to do it and work towards it until you've seen the physical manifestation of that thing. So you've got to have your spirit right. Thank you so much for liking this, Delphilia. You've got to have your mind right and your spirit right, and you've got to stay in prayer, and you've got to stay focused long enough to where you can see this idea out. You can build this thing. You can engage the process. You can get the promotion. You can build the life, attract whatever you need to do, so that way that thing does become manifest. So we know it happens. All right. So here's the secret. You've got to guard, number one, your mind. Now, when you think about your mind, right, because we said guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Not your money, not everything else, your heart. So when you think about the mind, right, and we're gonna go at this in different ways. This is like one sentence that has like 100 layers of wisdom built into it. All right, one sentence that has like 100 layers of wisdom built into it. You've got to guard your mind. Your mind first begins with your beliefs. We think of our mind as our brain, but really our mind is the voice that's speaking into our brain, and our brain is supporting our mind. So think about your brain is the computer. Your mind is the keyboard and the mouse. Your brain is the computer. Your mind is the keyboard and the mouse. Look at me giving Apple a free shout out. Now y'all know what kind of computer I'm working with in my home office, okay? So when you think about your mind, this is the keyboard. This is what's inputting what your brain is going to do. Technology is only as good as what's being inputted, right? Even when we think about AI is only as strong as what we're putting into it. It's just watching us. It's watching how we interact and what we do, and spitting out things based upon what it's learned about us. So it's still only as strong as what we're putting in. So when you think about your mind, what are your beliefs? What do you believe about yourself? And y'all, please continue to like. Let's get this up to like 10K likes. Let's get it up to 10K likes. What are your beliefs? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe you're capable of? One of the worst moments of my life is a long time I took an assessment that was really amazing. And it felt like my assessment was like 10s all across the board. But it revealed a truth about myself that I had to really work on. And I continue to work on till this day, but I feel like I'm conquering it, and it has been conquered, glory to God. And one of the things it exposed was the fact that I was a great leader. I had great ideas, but you know what my lower area was? What I believed about what I could accomplish. And so this was a part of my life that felt very stagnant. And stagnation comes from when what you feel you're capable of achieving doesn't match with reality, and you don't know like how to fill that gap in between. So you feel stagnant when you know like I need to be here, but this is where I am, but I don't know what to do about it. And until you get an action plan of knowing what to do about it, you find yourself in a place of stagnation. And so, but this really prompted me filling in the gaps, because this assessment showed that although I was very skilled, my belief in myself about what I was capable of accomplishing was low. And guess what? Nothing was going to happen until that flipped. Someone could not be very skilled, but have a high amount of self-belief and still achieve more than the person that has all the skills. Why? It goes back to what we're talking about. You have to guard your heart above all else, because it determines the course of your life. So the person that's plugged in to where they believe in themselves, they are really determining the course of their life, because they're going to find the motivation to do what it is that they need to do. So you got to really think about, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe you're capable of? My life didn't change until that changed. What do you believe about the world? How you see the world around you will also determine what you're capable of. If you're one of those people where you're like, the man is out to get me, the government won't allow us, this, and that, you're right. And you fall in prey to exactly what they wanted you to believe. You know, your enemy doesn't have to come against your ideas. They don't have to come against your plans. They don't have to put a stick in the road. The only thing your enemy has to do, and the enemy has to do, is prevent you from starting in the first place. If I can get you to not start, then I know I've succeeded. Because if you start and you start the process, you'll realize that you're not as far away from the goal as you think you are. So my goal, if I'm your enemy, is to prevent you from even beginning the good work, from beginning to pursue your God-given vision. I'm just going to stop you from doing that. So sometimes you think you're being like, yeah, I'm smarter. You know, you're being conspiracy theorist, but really the system has worked because through all of your conspiracies, you won't engage in anything but more research about conspiracies. So instead of fixing the problem, you're just studying the studying portion. If you believe that the system is that rigged, what are you doing to fix the system? Because you have to go at some point, everyone has to go from knowledge to wisdom. Knowledge is understanding a thing, right? And having the information about it. Wisdom is the ability to apply the information and to apply it in a way that creates something new. So knowledge of a problem is never enough. You have to have the wisdom to apply what you know to create something new that is the solution to the problem. And when you're the solution provider, that's when you know your life is going to continuously be upgraded. And y'all, please like and share the live. I see y'all in here. Just like it, keep tapping your phone. You can tap and listen. You know, you can tap and listen. Only because I want other people to see this, and yeah, they need to love it too. All right. So, and then the other thing is, what do you believe about the world? What do you believe about your industry? Sometimes the best way of keeping you away from engaging the industry is making you feel like there's no room for you in the industry. Guess what? There's not room for you. You got to make room for yourself. One thing I love about Tyler Perry is he created a lane for himself that no one else in Hollywood was going to create for him. He created a lane for us, you know, that no one else was in Hollywood was going to create. And let me tell you this: I hate listening to people that criticize him, because let me tell you something. He was one of the few people that made movies that every generation can go see. Because of Tyler Perry, there were times where my grandma, my auntie, me, my little cousins, the so-and-so, and so-and-so all went to the movies. And everyone was laughing. And they were telling real stories about just life that we could relate to. No one else in Hollywood had room for him. So he had to make room for himself. So sometimes you got to think about, what are my thoughts about the industry? And are the thoughts about the industry that I want to pursue preventing me from entering and making room for myself? What do you believe about business? What do you believe about your odds? Do you believe that the odds are stacked against you? Right? You strongly believe that. What are the beliefs of your companies for the entrepreneurs that are on here? What are your beliefs about your, what does your company believe? Or if you work for a company, what do they believe? There's been times where I've worked for companies that I had to go in and start infiltrating and influencing the beliefs of the company. Where I'm like, hey, y'all see doom, I see opportunity. And just spreading that message of, hey, there's opportunity here. There's opportunity here. We can grow here. Spreading the message of opportunity over and over and over again until the company's beliefs started to change, beginning with management. Why? You need your higher ups to believe too, because they're the ones steering the boat. I would be like, if you're steering the boat, I'm like, okay, Captain, I see you. Because I need my check. All right. And how do you influence the people around you? How do you influence their beliefs on a day-to-day basis? But it also begins with what you believe. Now, when you think about what you believe and then what you're trying to pursue, ask yourself, are they in alignment or do they contradict each other? Are they in alignment or do they contradict each other? If you believe you'll never be rich, but you're trying to build this and scale this business, and the point of business is to make money, your beliefs are in contradiction to each other. So you're trying to achieve something that you don't believe is possible. So when it's time for you to breathe life into what you're doing and it's time for you to execute, you're executing and you're operating from a defeated space, from a defeated position. So you've got to make sure what you believe and what you're trying to achieve are all in alignment. And it's a daily battle. I have to battle with this every single day. What am I believing about the situation that I'm in? Am I seeing opportunity in everything that I'm doing? Right? So you got to think about that. So that's the mind part. There's a second part to the mindset portion, which is your thoughts. You take inventory, and if you're sitting down somewhere, or look, if you're watching this while at work and you have a piece of pen and paper, it's okay. Take notes because it's going to help you at wherever you're at anyway, right? Take inventory of your daily thoughts. What are the things that are constantly in your mind? What comes across your mind? Do they support what you're trying to achieve? Meaning, if your thoughts were someone sitting next to you, speaking aloud, right? Everything that you were thinking, and they were like in the car next to you, would you put them out the car? If your thoughts were a person, would they worry you to death? If your thoughts were a person, are they a dream killer? Do they think too small? Are they gossipy? Are they unfocused? Like, are your thoughts unfocused? Do they demonstrate misplaced priorities? Meaning you're worried about the wrong things. You've got your mind fixated on that, in which has nothing to do with your destiny, nothing to do with your vision, nothing to do with the legacy that you're trying to build, nothing to do with the thing that really motivates you. You just got your mind fixated on fleshly things that's just going to make you feel better in the moment. Right? Oh, what am I going to eat today? I don't know. Maybe you should go on a fast so you can think. Right? If your thoughts were a person sitting next to you, do they use their intellect for good or evil? I've had some people, and I don't work with them any longer, or I didn't work for them for very long. These people, like, you ever see someone that's so smart, but because they don't put their intellect towards something good, all they think about is just different ways to scam? If you have the intellect, to come up with a very, very deep and just smart ways of getting over on someone, you probably could use that intellect to cure cancer. Why not put the level of intellect that you have towards something that's good and beneficial towards the world? So meaning, if your thoughts were a person sitting next to you that was highly intellectual, is this person putting their intellect for good or evil? Are they solving good problems? Or are they finding new ways to get sued? Sometimes I've seen people, I was like, you know what, you're about to get sued. The FCC is going to sue you. You're going to end up with a RICO case. Okay? Because you're using your intellect for evil. Do your thoughts give you more energy, or do they suck the life out of you? Thank you, y'all. And please like and share. Do they give you more energy, or do they suck the life out of you? Do they make you feel as though you have every chance in the world, or do they want you to live in fear? Ooh. So, and this is how you take inventory of your thoughts. Now, my rule is you can't control the first thought, but you can control the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. meaning you can have the corrective conversation with yourself. So even if my first thought is like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this. Oh, this person gets on my nerves so much. Oh, I just don't have the energy today. Oh, I just want to sit at home. I just don't feel like it, whatever. I can have that first thought, but my second thought is, yeah, okay. So you may not feel like it now, but you're going to feel like it. What are we going to do to get you in the mood to do it? Yes, this person may be getting on your nerves, but why? Where's the opportunity in this? What are they saying or doing that's tapping on, a deep-seated issue that you've had? So find ways to control that second thought that you may have. And if you're someone who leads, right, spend enough time with your team and converse with them enough to where you can understand their thought life. You can understand what their mind is like, so that way you can influence them positively and redirect their thought life. Most times, like I've noticed that there's people where you're like, they're so negative, but really they've never learned how to be positive. If you grew up with very negative people, complainers, people who are never grateful, their glass is always empty, there's always an issue, there's just always a situation, there's always something. What I find is many of those people who grew up in those types of households, they don't know how to be positive. And they've got to be around other people who can give them a different perspective, a different mindset, a different way of doing things. They've got to be around people to do so. So that's what you want to do if you're leading a team, is spend enough time with your people to where you can understand the way that they think, what their thought life is like, so that you can help them lead and direct them towards another option. My thing is, I'm never trying to change someone's mind. I'm not. I'm just giving them room to make a new decision based on new information, because I can't force anything. I can put something out there, but you got to want it. Like, I'm giving you guys this stuff right now, talking about your mind, your will, and emotions. But if you don't want it, you don't want change, you don't want to be successful, you want to just be able to complain about your situation, then you don't want it. But the only thing I can do is give you new information so you can make or have the opportunity to make a new decision. Does that make sense? Like it if it makes sense. All right. So number 2. So we talked about you have to guard your heart. You have to guard your heart above all else, because it determines the course of your life. So the second portion to this, right, is your will. And your will is basically your desire to do something, because your heart is really your soul, and your soul is your mind, your will, and emotions. All right. Remember, your mind, that's your thoughts, your beliefs, and it's the keyboard. It's the keyboard and the mouse to your life. You have to put something in here or on the keyboard of your phone to make the computer or the phone work. So your mind is not your brain. Your mind is the thing that directs your brain. You ever, and this is how you ever think about what you're thinking about? Like, did I just say that? That's your mind. And then your mind tells your brain what to do. And your brain is always supporting your mind. And we're going to get into that, right? And that's for better or for worse. Y'all, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Please like and share. Thank you, Malika Freeman, for joining. Thank you, Paul, for joining. Thank you, Jasmine, for joining. What's up, Bo Gator? You must be from Louisiana like me. Nick Walker, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right, so your will. Your will is simply your desire to do something. Your desire to do something, what you are driven to do. And there are things that we must do, just to discipline ourselves, like exercise, eat healthy, in business, it may be keeping your receipts for your taxes, communicating with your team, opening up that mail, getting organized, reviewing data, reviewing stats, reviewing your financials, checking your credit. Like, there's just parts of things that you just have to be disciplined to do. That's just a part of adulting. It's just a part of adulting that you just have to do, right? And when you think about these types of disciplines, think of it like um, flossing and brushing your teeth and flossing nightly, right? Um, it may seem burdensome, like, man, I just really want to go to bed, right? Or whatever it is that you want to do. But it's not burdensome, or it's only burdensome until you have to go to the dentist. And you realize, you know what? Flossing and brushing nightly is way easier than a root canal and less expensive. Like floss costs $3, a toothbrush is however much, right? And but no matter how much, even if you get the nicest toothbrush in the world, it's always going to be cheaper than a root canal. And that's when you think about having the will to just do the daily disciplines that just keep your life in order, to where you're not having these huge financial fallouts. You're not having these huge relational fallouts. You're not having these huge fallouts with your team, or your life just gets so disorganized that you feel overwhelmed to where you don't have the will to do what you need to do. So your daily disciplines contribute towards your will, because it doesn't mean you're constantly having to address, your lack of discipline in an area. Like if you're eating healthy, then you're not having, to address, okay, now I got to get on all this medication, right? So, or exercising or whatever it is that you're doing. But there are things that will impact your will and your desires. Remember, your will is just your desire to get up and do something. What your will is your drive. And you ever just feel like, oh man, I have all these ideas, but I just don't have the energy. Well, if you're depressed and you're doing a lot of sleeping, I was having a conversation the other day. I was like, it's not that you don't have the energy, the physical energy, because you go to bed, you just stay at home and watch Netflix and you sleep all the time. So it's not that your body doesn't have the energy, your spirit and your soul is lacking the energy. Your spirit is drained. Your spirit is overwhelmed. But your actual body doesn't lack energy. And you got to know the source. If you're sitting at home in bed every day, you're not moving around, you're not doing this, you're not exhausting yourself physically. Somewhere you are emotionally exhausted, spiritually exhausted. And so y'all, please like and share with some friends. There's a dentist that joined. I was just talking about brushing your teeth. Be happy. Anyway, so there are things that will impact your will and your desires. Remember, this is something that you're supposed to guard for yourself. All right. First thing is drugs and alcohol. I've met geniuses with amazing businesses, amazing influence, amazing opportunities that go out of business, or they're stagnant because they are dealing with addiction. They're dealing with addiction and they're using, drugs and alcohol to put a Band-Aid on the issue that's controlling their will. So because they didn't guard their mind, they're not guarding their thoughts, their beliefs, they're not going to therapy, they're not doing all these other things, that they're using drugs and alcohol to fix that. So they're putting a patch on the mind portion with drugs and alcohol. Now they have no will. So their mind is there, but they don't have the will to do it. Why? And it's because these types of things, although they put a temporary patch on what you're doing, they begin to change your brain chemistry. They begin to change your brain chemistry to where you're getting all these dopamine hits that are temporary, but on the other side, you're also releasing vast amounts of serotonin into your system, to where your brain chemistry is literally being altered, to where you're building your brain and you're putting your brain in a position to where it cannot support your mind. So your mind wants to do one thing, but you've changed the chemistry of your body and your brain so much that it cannot support what it is that you're looking to do. Now it's starting to malfunction. And it starts to impact your ability to lead. And it starts to impact your ability to build trust amongst the people that God put in your life and in your business and around you to help you in support of your vision. But they can't trust you because they constantly see you in a place of addiction. Right? And think about it like this. People are entertained by your vices. They are entertained by your lack of sobriety, but they won't invest in it. So they'll be around you and support it because it's entertaining them, but they won't invest in your dream. They won't invest their own heart into it because they can't trust you. So they won't put in their time. They won't put in their energy. They won't put in their ideas. They won't put in their money, and they won't even risk their future because of a lack of sobriety. And that's like a really downer portion of it. Don't worry, I have some more better things on there. But very, very, very gifted and talented people often have challenges in this area because they haven't really, no one's taught them how to guard their mind and how to navigate and properly place all of this energy and this creative energy and these ideas that they have, and it just stores up and they get full and they don't know what to do with it because no one's really pulled it out of them. And so that's why I'm having this conversation with this group, because I know the people that come to my page are leaders, because you're not going to really get much else off of my page. So they come, they're leaders, they're entrepreneurs, they're all of these things. And if you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're someone that's very creative, you have great ideas, you have goals, you're striving, know that this can be a tendency if no one's taught you how to direct all of this creative energy. And if you've never learned how to properly direct it, typically you will engage in vices just to get a lot of it off of your chest. And so what I'm doing today is teaching you what to do with all of this energy so you don't get involved in drugs and alcohol. And I'm saying this from a professional position as someone who has worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs and creative people to help them bring their dreams to life. And what I find is the more gifted you are, the more ideas that you have, the higher your intellect, the higher the likelihood that if you're not careful, you can get caught up in a place to where drugs and alcohol will take over your life. And then next thing you know, and then they'll allow you to get to a certain place because people will be drawn to your charisma and they'll be drawn to what it is that you bring. And then next thing you know, it'll all start to crash. Because because at a certain point, you always lose control. And then what you'll end up doing is just crashing to this point to where all the people who came are now watching your fall. And it's because you've really started to change the brain chemistry. And so now your brain and your body is no longer supporting the thoughts that you have. And it just starts manifesting into different things, which we're going to go into. So also, your relationships. Are the people that are around you impacting your will? Are they sucking up your energy? Do you have a lot of high maintenance relationships? A lot of times people who are high maintenance relationships, they're this way because they too have not learned how to regulate all of this creative energy that they have. And they don't know how to properly control it. And they don't know how to develop it, and they don't know how to focus it. So they're looking for all of these people to take some of this energy off of their chest. All relationships take work, but some just far more than others. And so when you think about your relationships, is this relationship an investment or a partnership? Like if you're married and, I'm not talking about your spouse or whatever, that takes time. Y'all are learning how to become one. I'm talking about just the random people around you that are sucking the life out of you. Who are the people around you? Are they positively impacting your will? And I'm talking about your will to do that thing that God put inside of you, the will to build your business, the will to take that creative idea and make it manifest, the will to continue to engage the process, to where you can get around those challenges. Does this person give you the energy to do so, or do they suck the energy out of it? So ask yourself, for all the people that are around you, is this relationship purposeful? Is this relationship an assignment? Right? Sometimes there's people around you that God has assigned to you to mentor and to develop and to walk. You're a part of their walk in life. But then there's those others. And you've got to really make sure that you understand the difference between the two. And this is how you know. When you're done dealing with this person, and this could be someone that works in your company. Sometimes it could be a family member, right? When you're dealing with this person, do you have any energy left for your purpose and your assignment? God gives you an assignment. By the time you're done dealing with this person, do you have any energy left for your assignment? Now, part of it is you've got to guard your own mind and know, like, okay, what's happening is important, but I've still got to get my mind in a place to where, yes, I'm taking note of it, I'm doing it, but I don't allow it to fester into my mind. I don't allow it to fester. And I know y'all are listening. Y'all, please listen and like, just so other people can listen. Because I'm like that too. So where if I'm listening, I'm like, hold on, this is actually engaging. And you're actually focusing. Y'all, please like and listen. All right. So yeah, does this relationship prevent you from executing God's will in your life and for your life? Let me tell you, God will never compete with his assignment. He will never he won't come and bless something that makes you ignore him. Is this person the source of these underlying narratives? Is this person a source of these underlying narratives that are growing in your mind? Meaning, do you keep people around you that make you not want to take a risk? God may be calling you to boss up, and this person may be calling you to remain a slave. No, don't do that. That's real risky. Don't do that. Right? Let me tell you, it's one thing to just do something that's dumb. But if you're following God's assignment, he's going to give you the plan, the resources. You're going to put the time in. You're going to strategize. I'm going to help you strategize to create a plan to where you can make something that seems foolish and confound the wise with it. So does this person, are they a part of your underlying narratives? Does this person, speak into your life and make you second guess yourself? Do they constantly leave you in a place of confusion? There are people that sometimes are assigned to your life to always make you second guess yourself. So you never step into your assignment. So you never do the thing. And to where when you look back, your life has a big I next to it. And that I stands for incomplete. There are people that are also assigned to your life to make sure that you don't do those things. And you've got to be willing and you've got to be able to recognize who those people are. Are they the ones that planted the poison in your life, that make you feel less than, that make you feel like you're not enough, to make you always feel like you don't have what it takes or you haven't done enough, right? Does this person push you towards negative perfectionism? There's a such thing as excellence where, you've done all that you can do to do this well. And then there's perfection to where you can never meet the standard. There's only one person who's ever met the standard of perfection walking this earth, and that is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So you're never going to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's never going to be the perfect season. It's never going to be a perfect anything. It's never going to be perfect. There's always something. You create a perfect season and you ask for God's blessing, and together y'all make it the perfect season. Because I don't care if the news says no, if God is saying yes, then you better do it, because the yes was for you. It wasn't for everyone else. So are there people in your life that are contributing towards these underlying narratives? Are they the reason why you constantly have these thoughts in your mind? I'm not enough. It's not well enough. It's not perfect enough. It's not challenging, or I don't have what it takes. I don't have the credentials. I don't have enough. All right. And so what it does is these people are impacting your will to where by the time they're done with you, by the time you're done with their energy, you no longer have the desire to do the thing that you need to do. And your will, remember, we're guarding our heart. And guard your heart above all things, because it determines the course of your life. The course of your life is going to be impacted by what you have the desire to do and how you can find the motivation to go out and do it. Y'all, thank you for liking. Y'all, please continue to like. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. Someone sent me a message. What did y'all say? Okay, I don't know. All right. And remember this too, right? Don't ever turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. So when you're looking through the people in your life and you're looking at, okay, what are these relationships, right? What does wisdom say about it? Not how you feel, because we're going to go into emotions next. Your habits can impact your will. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? Some of y'all think you're demotivated when really your body is just tired. You're trying to get it all done off of 3 hours of sleep. Let me tell you, Babylon will tell you you need to do it for 3 hours of sleep. If you feel like you can't get ahead in life, if you sleep, that's how I know you're not connected to God. Every time, if I read through the Bible, even God was talking to Joshua, look, bring these people into the promised land. The first thing he told them to do was rest. Babylon will send you into war without resting. God will never send you into something and tell you not to rest. He tells you don't slumber, meaning don't just where you got a little pillow where you're constantly in the self-care phase. No, but he will tell you to rest. If you are doing something that never allows you to rest, that's how I know you're not executing God's plan in your life. You're executing your plan, and you're wondering why you hit that wall and have an emotional breakdown, because you're not resting. So, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough nutrients? Are you feeding your body? Are you neglecting or neglectful towards your body? And sometimes you don't have the will to get things done and to get in motion and stay in motion because you literally don't have the energy to be excellent. If you're stopping by McDonald's every morning as your fuel, at some point your emotions are going to drop. And we're going to talk about that next. Are you doing the thing? Some of y'all need to just lay in bed at night and read a book about something fiction, to where your mind can just wander and it can just have some rest. Our minds aren't built to be constantly stimulated. Go home and read your Bible. Do something to take off your mind off of the thing so your mind can be at rest. This is another way that you're going to guard your will so you have the motivation to do it, because you're going to need that motivation to constantly engage the challenges and the hurdles that comes with what you're doing. Successful people typically aren't special. They're just the people that have the stamina that can consistently keep their energy and stay positive while they're jumping over these hurdles. Because we know where the finish line is, but the finish line just isn't this straight line. There's hurdles that come with it. And successful people are just able to consistently navigate the hurdles and stay focused. But you've got to have your will in the place to do it, all right? And number three, your emotions. Because remember, we're guarding our hearts above all else, for it determines the course of our lives, right? And your heart is simply, and when you see heart written in the Bible, heart anyway, it's like they broke my heart. Someone broke your heart. They broke your mind, your will, and your emotions. They got you in a place to where I can't think, baby, like that Baby Space song. Okay? Is it think? I can't think, I can't sleep, whatever, without you in my life, right? So basically he's like, look, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't think, I can't get out of bed, I can't do anything. You broke my heart. That's what we're literally saying. This person impacted you to where you're demotivated and your mind ain't right. You don't have the motivation, all right? And your emotions are all over the place. That's what a broken heart is, because that's what your heart is. Your mind, your will, and your emotions, all right? So we're at 3, your emotions. So the first thing I'm going to read you, Romans 8:5-6. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on the things of the Spirit. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. And so when we talk about life and peace, right, not only is it life and growing or whatever, but peace is also an emotion. It's a state of your emotions. And so when you think about your emotions, there's 2 different types of people. There are, and most of it start off as the first part. It's when you allow environmental factors to impact the way that you move and think in the world. But remember, you're supposed to be guarding your own heart. So you're supposed to be the one speaking into how you're going to feel for that day. And you speak into how your emotions are going to be set so much for that day that no one can disturb your peace. And this is something that we all have to strive towards. Look, I'm preaching to myself at this point. And once you take your mind off of like, look, I gotta guard my peace, the next thing you know, your emotions are everywhere. Do you know how hard it is to win any race when your emotions are all over the place? I love watching like NFL games or track meets or whatever, because you can see people trying to get in the zone. And they're not getting in the zone because they're out of the zone. They've got to get in the zone because before they've arrived to the track, before they've arrived to the field, before they've arrived to that place, there's been all of these voices and situations in their lives that are impacting their emotions. And they've got to strip themselves of all of those things and focus on the one thing that they have to do. Every day that you wake up, life is a track. Every time you take your feet off of that bed, off of the couch, if you sleep on the floor, I don't care. The moment the bottoms of your feet hit the floor, that's your track for the day. And every day that you wake up, there's an assignment for you. And remember, success is a process, and a process that comes down to what you do daily. Life has very few big moments, but it has a lot of little moments that add up to a big moment. Even when you think of your favorite artist, right? They put an album of 16 songs out. The majority of their year was recording songs that were never going to come out. So where it might have taken, 50, 60, 70, 100, 300 songs to get an album of 10 songs. So the majority of their time was spent doing those little small things, right? That's going to lead to the big thing. It might have been voice lessons. It might have been, look, they're playing pianos. They're doing whatever it is that they need to do. So when you go out there, you have to guard your mind, your will, and your emotions so you can do that thing, friend. All right. So now don't mistake. Don't forget that there are also really, really great emotions. There are amazing emotions out there. You have emotions like love, satisfaction, compassion, motivation. Sometimes you'll feel happy, you'll feel focused, right? And these are all the emotions that give you this positive hit of dopamine. They make you feel good. All right. Now, and you can Google any list of positive emotions from like a psychologist or whatever. Those aren't the ones that we're trying to guard ourselves from. Those are the ones that we're trying to attract. Those are godly emotions. Those are great emotions. Welcome to the live, Aubrey. So those are the things that you want to do. And so positive emotions gives your brain a hit of dopamine. Now, this is what dopamine does, especially if it's sustainable. All right. Dopamine helps you concentrate. Dopamine puts you in a positive mood. Dopamine helps you sleep. So if you're constantly negative, you ever notice people who are very negative, they never can get a good night of sleep. They stay tossing and turning, waking up in the middle of the night, doing this, doing that, doing that. It's because they're not getting enough dopamine to stay asleep. They're positive. They're not getting enough of the positive emotions in life to where they can't sleep. So dopamine, they help you concentrate. They help you stay in a positive mood. Dopamine helps you get good sleep. Dopamine helps you learn. If you have a hard time retaining information, a lot of times it's because you're stressed. It's like they show kids that live in stressful homes. They have a hard time learning in school. And it's not because they're dumb. It's because they're not getting enough dopamine in their brains to where they can't learn. Their brain is stressed. And you can't learn when your brain is in a stressed state. But remember, we are going to guard our minds to where environmental factors aren't impacting whether or not we're getting dopamines. We're impacting it because we're meditating on all things that are good. All right. Dopamine helps you to control your memory. And like I can tell whenever I'm under high stress, I'm constantly forgetting things. And it's because my brain is being flooded with serotonin. So I have to sit there and think, okay, what's causing this amount of stress in my life? How can I lower this stress so that way I'm able to just stay focused on what it is that I need to do? All right. And so all of these things are the things that you need to help you stay focused and motivated. And dopamine helps to reward and enhance reward driven behavior. They help you to enhance that. And so what you want to do, friend, is that you want to begin your day with all of the positive emotions and positive thoughts. Begin your day with positive emotions and positive thoughts. Okay, good. So that way you're getting these natural dopamine hits. If not, and you're constantly thinking negatively, or you allow people to impact your mind, your will, and emotions, and you have this stress circle around you, what ends up happening is that you fill your brain chemistry and your bodily chemistry with serotonin. Now, what serotonin is supposed to do is it's supposed to inhibit impulsive behaviors. So, and they are supposed to be like this little balancing act. You're like, I can do anything. And then you put your hand on the fire and it burns and serotonin releases. And you're like, oh, serotonin tells you, you can do anything, but you can't put your hand in the oven. That's what serotonin is supposed to do, is to inhibit impulsive behaviors. Serotonin releases and says, this is bad. Stay away from this. And what serotonin is supposed to do is give your life and your mind some boundaries. Like, yes, I do believe I can fly, but what I won't do is jump out of a plane without a parachute. Serotonin tells you that. Okay, you can jump out this plane, but I'm gonna need you to have a parachute. Okay. And so that's what it's supposed to do. And what serotonin does is it impacts your metabolism and your appetite. And it also impacts your hormonal activity, blood clotting, right? And high levels of serotonin will mess up your metabolism. High levels of serotonin will make you just want to eat all the time. Why do you think people stress eat? Like, serotonin's supposed to come on when you haven't eaten, saying, hey, don't forget to eat, right? But when you're stressed and your mind and your thought life and your emotions are constantly negative, those negative thoughts are releasing serotonin like crazy. That's when sometimes people, when I was watching like My 300-Pound Life or whatever it was, right? Or 800-Pound Life or something like that. Or maybe I was reading a book to where it's like, if you find yourself to where you're over consuming and you can't lose weight, they ask, what's eating you? Why? Because there's something that's going on in your mind and something that's going on in your emotions that's causing your body to release all this serotonin. Your body's literally releasing negative energy, and the serotonin is making you eat. So this is other reasons why you have to guard your emotions. And this is why I say this is growth 101. Before you can get to the next step of building anything, you've got to get your heart in control. You've got to get your mind, will, and emotions in control. All right. Other things, when your emotions are negative and you allow yourself to stay in a negative emotion place, remember, you're supposed to guard it. No one else can guard your emotions but you. If you're like, these people are the reason why I'm so emotional, why haven't you set boundaries? It was your job to set the boundary, and it was your job to keep the boundary. So if they're doing that and they're overstepping their boundaries, and next thing you know, you've got all these negative emotions and you've got all this serotonin just flooding your body. Next thing you know, you're eating like crazy. Next thing you know, you gained all this weight. Next thing you know, you're looking at yourself like, oh, I'm so terrible, right? You got to start, attack the problem at the source of the problem. The rest, they're just remnants. They're just leaves, right? Sometimes you got to chop that tree down. So serotonin also will impact your hormonal activity. So now you've got all these negative thoughts. Your body's releasing serotonin. Now you're moody. Your hormones are all over the place. You're growing a beard when you're not supposed to be. You're not able to do what you're supposed to do. You're all over the place. Let me tell you, this is actually going to get into the next part. You're getting blood clots. Your health is all over the place, right? And this is another thing. High levels of serotonin. Now remember, the serotonin being released is not the problem. It's just something that indicates that there's a problem. To where sometimes we attack the indicator, but we don't attack the source. So you can attack the indicator of the anxiety, the depression, the moodiness, the bipolar, all of these different things that are very real. But attacking the indicator and not the source will still leave you feeling empty, and you will still crash. Because guess what? They can only pump you with but so many drugs. That's why we all need Jesus. Because sometimes you just need somebody to just, and that's why you gotta operate in the realm of the spirit first and let that manifest into the natural. But I have another video on that about that in YouTube, and that would take forever. We'd be on here forever if we talked about that. All right. So the high levels of serotonin will make you depressed. But remember, it was your thoughts and your emotions that told your body to release the serotonin. Your mind told your body to release it. And like I said, your mind and your will and your emotions, that's your heart. That's the keyboard. It's the input. Everything that comes out of it is based upon what we allow to be on the input side of it. So you attack the source of it. Also, did you know high levels of serotonin will also give you diarrhea? So negative thoughts, negative emotions is also giving you bubble guts. You're dealing with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And do you know that most people that deal with stomach issues and digestive issues are people that also have very, very difficult and complex emotions that they have not been taking guard of? They've been attacking the problem at the indicator and not at the root of the problem. Y'all can please continue to like and share. Thank you so much. I'm happy that we have 1,900 likes. Let's get it. I wanted it to be to like 10,000. That would be amazing. So, and let me tell you about this. And sometimes too, did you know that consuming too much sugar will also increase the levels of serotonin in your body? And this is why sugar is just like some like other vices, to where you initially get the hit, but the next thing you know, you're getting the downer. Consuming too much sugar will actually make you more moody and more depressed. It's also been linked to different types of anxiety disorders and bipolarism. Do you know that they are now treating bipolar disorder with metformin? So metformin is what they give to diabetics to lower their blood sugar levels. And they are now treating and seeing results of treating people with bipolar disorder with metformin, to where all they're doing is getting their blood sugar levels lower. And the blood sugar levels, right? And the high blood sugar levels were creating so much serotonin in their body that their moods are just going back and forth like this. And they can't balance out because that serotonin was so high. But the cause of that serotonin being so high was sugar. Isn't that crazy? So consuming too much sugar will also make you moody, depressed, and bipolar. Make sense? So we started off this teaching with saying, guard your heart above all else because it determines the course of your life. And now we know that our life and our heart is our mind, will, and emotions. You've got to control your thoughts. And you've got to control your thoughts because it will impact your will and your desire to do something, right? Because our life is a proof and is a living witness of our desires. But what we desire to do began with the mind, right? And then it turned into our will. What it is we desire to do. And we got to guard that too, to where we got to create boundaries that create in us a will that goes against and contradicts what it is that we're looking to achieve. We've got to create boundaries around the people that impact our will to go out and achieve our God-given vision, right? And then the last thing, the number 3 is we've got to guard our emotions. So, and someone's like, man, how do you control your emotions? Like I said, you may not be able to control the first thought, right? But you can control the second one. And what you want to do to control that is to really meditate on good things. And if you really want to change how you feel about something, what you've got to do is change the way that you believe, what you believe about that thing. And when you change your beliefs about something, you'll also change the emotions you feel regarding it. But you still have to guard it. Because sometimes you ever find yourself getting really emotional about something and you got to just put that check back in your spirit. You've got to do that. Now, this is what I want you to do, because I have a little exercise for you. And if you were looking at one of my workbooks, if you go in my bio, I have a course and a workbook called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. And the reason I say cultivating your vision is God gave all of us a vision, and that vision, what we talked about last week. And if you want to watch it, you can go on YouTube. I reposted it. Everything I teach, if you missed last Wednesday, you can go on YouTube and I just upload it. It's not edited or anything like that, but just upload it and you can rewatch it. And last week we talked about how our vision is God's answers to our complaint. So your dream and your desire and your goals is God's answer to the complaint you have about your life. I don't have enough money. What about that vision I gave you? I don't have the right resources. What about the vision I gave you? I'm feeling lonely. Your vision's going to bring you around the good people. If you are out accomplishing your vision, you're going to be around people. You're going to connect with great people that are in alignment with who you are, because they're going to be in alignment to the vision. You know, I'm not meeting people. I'm not meeting the spouse. Your vision was supposed to put you in front of your spouse. What if you're supposed to meet your person on the road while you were out doing that thing that God gave you, right? My family's not in the place that they're supposed to be in. That vision was supposed to help, provide the resources and the framework for that, right? I don't like where I live. The vision was supposed to change where you live. If you would follow your vision, you'd change locations, right? So your vision is God's answers to your life's complaints. It's his answer. Right. And if you can't hear from God, which it takes work, right? You got to really, you got to really quiet your life to do it. But if you can't hear from God, the easiest way to hear from him is seeing the vision that he's planted inside of you, the ideas, the goals, that picture of yourself, how you see yourself. Like, if everything went my way, this is what I'd be dressed like. This is what I would look like. This is where I would live, whatever. That's God's answer. That's an indicator of seeing what his will and his desire for your life is. But we treat our vision like it's just our imagination. No. It's God's answer. And so what we're talking about today is, this is the thing that we have to do, and we have to start with in order to start the process of accomplishing that vision, where you've got to get your heart right, and you've got to guard your heart, your mind, your will, and emotions, so you'll have the stamina to go out and do it. Most of you guys have the intellect. You have the skill. And guess what? If you don't have the skill, you can gain the skill. Almost everything that we need to gain, we can learn on YouTube. Almost every skill we need to have, we can learn about it on YouTube, and then we just have to go and do it enough to where we become skilled at it. That's how amazing. And this is how I know our generation, most of our problems are mindset issues. Because everything that we need to know and every skill that we need to gain is available to us. And it's at our fingertips. You guys joined me today and you didn't know it was going to be information that can change your life, and it was right in your hands. That's how I know that most of our problems are spiritual and mindset problems, because the actual skill and the information is in front of us. We're having difficulty finding the motivation to do it. And it's because we've neglected our house. We've neglected our soul. We've neglected our spirit. We've neglected our mindset, and we've settled for just products and consuming. We've settled for things that are just They're just like the basics. We settle for the bag. The real bag is you, honey. Your mind. You are the bag. You're going after the bag when you are the bag. All right? So I want you to think about, and this is an exercise. And if you were to get the course will walk you through how to connect with your vision. And it'll also walk you through portions of this. It's just applicable, and it's more connected to you. And if you go on my bio, you can purchase the course. It's called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. If you want me to send you a workbook and the course, go to my TikTok shop and you can buy it there. All right. But if you just purchase a course, you get the digital format of the course and the digital workbook and all that. But some people just like having a book that they can go through. I'm an analog person. I like touching the book. I still have a physical Bible. Okay. So it has this in there. And it has this, I guess, paper diagram. That's the word I'm looking for. Diagram. And so what I want you to do, all right, friends who are here with me on the TikTok and on Instagram and YouTube, hey y'all. What I want you to do is think about a few beliefs that you've had. And I want you to take them through this system. And what I'm going to do is walk you through how this has impacted your life. So everything begins with what you believe. And this diagram, and it's in the workbook, will teach you how your beliefs turn into results, to where the results you're getting in your life began with what you believe. This is why social media can be so insidious. I'm realizing that social media is keeping everyone lonely because everyone's beliefs are so negative. They're so negative. Every time I turn on, people talking about relationships is what women aren't doing, and these women are this, and these men are this, and it's everyone trying to control, but all they're doing is starting a negative belief cycle that's going to turn into negative results. The Bible says that a good tree cannot produce bad fruits. And you guess what your mind looks like on the inside? Like a tree. All of your thoughts and your neurons, they just look like trees with little branches. That's how you know God is the creator, because everything just builds upon itself. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. So if you start with negative beliefs, and be careful about what you consume, because there are people that will put negative information out there that will produce bad results in your life, but they're putting the negative out there because it gives them good results in the analytics. That's why I tell you guys, like this, because this type of information isn't what's going to trend naturally on TikTok. If I want to have something trending on TikTok, I got to have something that's like slightly petty, because AI knows us and they know we're attracted to the negative, but the negative isn't what produces good fruit in our lives. So we've got to like and share this so much to tell the world of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and all of them that this is the type of information that we need. And so there are people that will put content out there that will sow a seed of a negative belief that will create negative fruit in your life. And they're doing it so that they can stay positive on the algorithm. And they're saying things that they don't really believe. And they're promoting ideas that they don't even produce in their lives, right? But they're doing it just so they can stay on the positive end of the algorithm so they can make money. So be careful about what you consume, because your consumption is allowing people to drop negative seeds in your life that's going to produce bad fruit just so that they can get money. And it's sad. Okay, so back into this. So everything that you believe, what it does is it starts to formulate your thoughts. So now we're still in the mind. Remember, we said guard your heart above all else because it determines the course of your life. So everything begins with what you believe and the thoughts that you have. If I want you to fail, only thing I got to do is get you to start thinking negatively about yourself. And typically people will start that seed early in life. So what I believe will produce thoughts. So you have your belief, then it turns into your thoughts. Your thoughts over here. What you think about will produce an emotion. Now remember, most of us, male or female, are acting on our emotions. Why? Our emotions are what drive and produce serotonin or dopamine. Positive emotions, positive emotions produce dopamine. And remember, we just talked about the dopamine is what's going to help you concentrate. It's going to help you have a positive mood. It helps you learn. It helps you control your memory. It helps you do all the things you need to do to accomplish your vision and your assignment. Your emotions can also produce serotonin, which are going to make you depressed, which are going to make you overconsume, which are going to make you hormonal, which are going to make you, for some, bipolar. Right? It's gonna produce the things that says, let me shelter myself. Let me not engage. Right? High levels of serotonin can also produce rage and violence. So what you think about is going to turn into an emotion, and it's either going to be a positive dopamine-filled emotion, or it's going to be some that releases serotonin. Like I said, serotonin isn't always bad. Sometimes serotonin says the stove is hot, don't touch it again. But if your emotions and your beliefs and your thoughts are constantly negative, and to me, a negative thought is anything, even if it's being realistic. One thing I love is seeing comments online where they're like, that's not real life. No, that's not your real life. A positive thought is just a thought that supports God's vision for your life. A positive thought is a thought that supports what it is that you need to accomplish. Real life is really up to that person, because what one person says isn't real life is real life for another. So when people say that's not realistic, no, that's not realistic for you. Because you get to determine what's realistic. Taking a plane to Paris to go eat lunch isn't realistic for me, but it's realistic for someone else. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to eliminate that in my life, because what if that is a desire of God? What if God wants to reward my stewardship with, you know what? The next time you want to go eat lunch, I'm going to bless you in a way, because you've been blessing other people, to where I'm going to bless you in a way to where you're just going to fly to Paris and eat. I'm not going to allow my ideas of what's realistic to impact that. So your beliefs produce thoughts. Your thoughts produce emotions. So that's here. So we have beliefs, thoughts, emotions. And then what that's going to do is that is going to motivate you to take action. Remember, our mind, right, is the keyboard that tells our brain the directions. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Once we have that emotions, those emotions are what's going to cause us to take action. When you have positive emotions about someone, don't you do nice things for them? Whatever you think positively about, your actions are going to support that. You also got to be careful about, how you treat people, because that's going to impact their emotions about you as well. All right. So now, once you produce the action is ultimately what's going to determine the result. The action is going to determine the result and what actually ends up manifesting. So here's the key. You have to look at life, because this is what people do. They say, well, if this didn't happen, I wouldn't have acted that way. If they wouldn't have done this, guess what? They're not in control of navigating your life. Are you going to let what they did impact the results that happen in your life? Again, like I said, your enemy doesn't have to tear you down. All they have to do is get you to not start. Do you know that there will be people that will intentionally produce negative emotions in your life so that way you don't produce good fruit? But you can't control what they try to do. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. So it's the external factor, what happened, how you react, that determines the result. And how I react is going to determine, and is really an indicator of what I believe. So when I see people that act up in my life, my first belief is they're acting this way because they haven't learned better yet. And I just immediately try to go into a place of compassion. They haven't matured to the level yet that allows them to see why this behavior is unacceptable. So the only thing I'm going to do is produce a boundary to protect myself and to guard my heart, because my heart is going to determine the results that I get out of my life. And I am me and God, and I have to be accountable to God about how I've navigated the course of my life. Because when my life ends, he's going to say, Yannick, I gave you this gift and this assignment. What did you do with it? I can't be like, well, so-and-so said this to me, and this person in my family did this, and these people did this, and they did this. Why? Because he didn't ask me what they did. He's going to ask me, what did I do with it? And remember, your vision is God's answer to the complaints in your life, the complaints that you've had, the complaints that you have, and the complaints that you will have. Your vision is supposed to help you navigate also future trials. Maybe you accomplishing your vision in this season will protect you in the season to where maybe things are a little tough, but you've stored up so much in your storehouse during this season that when resources are dry, you're eating off of the storehouse. You're eating off of what you saved up. So remember, your vision is God's answer to your past, present, and future complaints. Isn't that crazy? But isn't that wonderful? And that's why I'm doing this, and I'm on my assignment to really push you guys to go out there and accomplish your vision. But this is the first step. You got to get your heart in the right place before you can strategize. Because if you don't get your heart in the right place, you won't have the stamina. You won't have the stamina to stay with it and to overcome and to go around and go over the hurdles that are guaranteed to come. Life comes with suffering and it comes with challenges. But the challenges really teach us how to live. Challenges also teach us how, when we get to heaven, we're going to dwell with God. Because challenges brings out our character. And when they come about, it's that refining process that teaches us how to live. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Bernard, for joining. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about some results that you've had in life, one that you've loved, where you got a positive result out of it, and then one that you've hated, and ask yourself, how did my beliefs impact this result? How did what I believe, look at the result and go back to the beginning portions. One of the things, you can look at a failed relationship. The result was the relationship failed. And sometimes we grieve the fact that the relationship failed, but we don't look at what did we believe at the beginning of that relationship. Sometimes the belief could have been what I thought would fulfill me in a relationship. Maybe you had like a very shallow belief about it. Maybe you had a shallow belief about what a woman's supposed to do. Maybe you had a shallow belief about what a man's supposed to do. What were your beliefs in the beginning of those things? How did those beliefs manifest into thoughts? Based on what you believe, what did you think? What were your emotions surrounding it? Maybe someone had a problem in the relationship and you're like, they shouldn't even feel like this. They don't have no reason to even feel like this, right? Or, whatever that could be. It could be about a job, right? Going into the position, maybe you had an idea, like you want to do well, but what were your beliefs about what you were supposed to be doing there? What were your beliefs about your assignment? How did it produce a thought? What emotions came of it? And based on your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions, what actions did you take? Because sometimes we look at what happened and the actions that we took, but there were 3 other pieces in between. And when you change those 3 pieces, That's the only way to change your actions. Sometimes you're like, why can't I stop doing this thing? Right? And sometimes it's like, why am I struggling with doing this thing? Why can't I stop? Add whatever negative in there. And the reason that you can't stop doing it is because you never change your belief about it. And the actions won't change until your beliefs surrounding it change. And when you change your beliefs about it, then you change your thoughts and then your emotions change. So think about that. And then I want you to think about, what is it that you could have changed? What are the beliefs? And the last thing is, I'm going to give you guys this. And one of the major keys to believing something differently is to really think about what you think about and to meditate on things that are part of our higher selves. So one of the best ways to do it is to meditate on the Word of God, right? And what I want to do is just give you some things to meditate on if you're having a hard time combating depression. It's really hard to build when you're depressed. There are people who will actively work while depressed. I've been that person. And look, coming in and out of it throughout my life, right? I call it like a functioning depressed person. Like you have a functioning alcoholic, a functioning addict. You could be a functioning person through depression and not realize it. So the first thing is, right? I want you to think about anxiety. Be anxious for nothing every day. Tell yourself, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. Basically saying, don't worry about anything, bring everything to God. For every problem that I have that I feel anxious about, I say, God, I'm following your will. This is your problem. Tell me what you want me to do with it. How do you want me to navigate it? And just stay calm throughout that. If your kids are acting up, Lord, this is your child first. What you gonna do about them? What do you want me to do? And I ask for that intervention, right? Another thing, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. So meaning, even though things are tough right now, you're going to have a future and hope is on the way. Things are great. Peace is what I leave with you, and it's my own peace that I give you. I do not give it as the world does. The world don't give peace, all right? Or give you peace in exchange. Like, I'll let you have peace if you do this for me. Some people's peace isn't really real peace. They're just letting off as long as you're willing to give them what they want. There are people that will only allow you to have a peaceful environment if you do the thing that they want you to do. God doesn't give that type of peace. It's a true peace, not I will let off the gas as long as you're doing what I need you to do for me, right? Don't be worried, don't be afraid, don't be upset. Other things, right? To combat perfectionism, right? Remember, perfectionism comes from the desire to win the approval of other people. The only person's approval that you need is God's approval. People who feel like they got to be perfect, they're going out there trying to be perfect so no one can say anything negative about them. I don't want to look like this to this person. I don't want to be in their mouths. You're going to be in their mouth anyway. Somebody going to talk bad about you anyway. You can have everything absolutely right, and someone will talk bad about you. Do you know people talk bad about Mother Teresa? The woman that was washing kids in war zones. I'm like, friend, did you ever go and wash a child in a war zone? People talk bad about Mother Teresa. If they will talk bad about Mother Teresa and Jesus, they will talk bad about you. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why you don't seek the approval of people. You seek the approval of men. And let God raise you. I'm sorry. You don't seek the approval of people and men. You seek the approval of God and let him raise you up. And remember that it's God who gives you the strength and makes your way perfect. So every day I want you to wake up and meditate on the word of God, the promises of God, and the beauty of life. And I want you to meditate and tell yourself what you're going to think that day. Tell yourself how equipped you are, right? Read your Bible. Like one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm making sure that I don't wake up and jump on social media. I'm making sure that I wake up and I fill my mind and my thoughts of the things that support what it is that I'm trying to achieve. And it's hard. And really, if you wake up and the first thing that you do is get on social media, it's really an indicator that your spirit wants to eat something. Your spirit wants to partake of something. You get to decide what it partakes of. And it wants that morning refresh. It wants that morning directive. Your spirit wants that thing to say, hey, fill me up real quick. And you get to decide whether you fill that soul up with trash or you fill it up with something good. But if you wake up and the first thing you do is get on social media, it's just an indicator that you want to be filled and that you need to be filled before you start your day. And I would recommend you fill yourself with prayer, with scripture, with something that's beautiful, because guess what? The world's gotten the negativity down pat. The moment you step out your house, the moment you step into your living room, the world's already got all that stuff covered. You don't even have to be intentional about it. It just got it down. All right. And they don't never go out of stock. They never go out of stock, friend. They never go out of stock. So I want you to do that. Meditate on the things that are good. And just remember to guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Now, friends, next week we're going to go into strategy. So we talked about vision and how your vision is not just something that you just haphazardly came up with. All right. Your vision is important. Your vision is God's answers to all of your life's problems. Right now, we're talking about, look, we got to get your mind right. So you've accepted the vision in your life, but now we got to get your mind right. Because if your mind ain't right, you're not going to be able to execute on anything. Okay. And next week, we're going to start the process of creating a strategy and making sure that you create strategies that make sense. Now, every time I do this, people ask a few questions. One, how can I talk to you? If you want to talk with me directly, just go to my profile and click schedule a call. All right. And you can schedule a discovery call. Well, I'll give you 30 minutes of my time. It always goes over 30 minutes, but either way, because I just get excited. And you can speak with me there. And it's a small fee to speak with me. And it's only because it's just such a high demand that I can't be on the phone for 30 minutes for 12 hours a day and stay married and still be a bonus mom and still work and do everything else, right? So you can schedule a call there. The second thing is, if you're like, look, I know what you're saying is true, but I don't know what my vision is. There's a course on my profile. You click it. It's called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. I taught this course to Fortune, well, I don't know what level they were on there, but to CEOs that run $1 million companies. And this showed them how to strategize for the rest of their year and to really pull out their company's visions for the year. So everyone has their directions. Okay. So the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain to who all may read it, may run with it, meaning they go and run and do something with it, right? They know what they're supposed to be doing. They can execute. They know the plan. All right. So take that course. If you want me to send you a workbook with the course, because the digital workbook is on there, but if you're like, look, I need mine in person, go to my TikTok shop, order the workbook, and then I send you the link to the course, and you'll be registered and all that stuff automatically to where you can do the course, but the workbook will come to your house and you'll have that to fill out physically on there. You can have the workbook forever. All right. And then the third thing that people ask me is, can you help me with my business? The first step to doing that is having the discovery call. I'm scheduling that, and then I'll see what the issues are with your business and develop a plan moving forward to where we can work together. And lastly, I have a small group called the New Luminaries. And these are for people who are looking to be the light. They're looking to take their vision, their goals to the next level. And it's a small group of people to where I work with them every single week, and I keep them accountable and hold them accountable to what it is that they're going to say they're going to do. And we meet either on most Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays if it's a holiday, at 7:00. And you have homework. I send daily messages. I check in, but we meet every week and we just start nailing that down to where maybe you're like, look, I don't need you to come and overhaul my business specifically. I just need someone to help me, stay on track, and a group of people to stay on track. You can join the New Luminaries while it's open. I'm going to close it again soon. Once I'm like, look, we got our good group, and then we'll reopen it again, because I want to take a group of people, get them to a certain level before I allow more people to join the group. So thank you so much for listening. Hopefully we'll be seeing more of each other soon on a personal basis, not just on a live basis. And thank y'all for listening, and thank y'all for liking it. And again, if you missed part of it, you came in halfway through, this is actually already live on YouTube, to where if you go to my YouTube page, which is also on my bio, you can see the live from the beginning and get all the tidbits from the earlier portions. Thank y'all. Have a good day.